Hi, Mr. Asher. We're trying out something new. This is Group 1. We chose water imagery from the Heart of Darkness as our topic. So first of all, we tried to use Jing, but the software had a few malfunctions, so we brainstormed a couple of new ideas, and we thought that we could just use 2 laptops and directly upload the video to YouTube, so I hope this is satisfactory. So once again, this is Group 1 with Jason, Talia, Jeffrey, and Leo.
So we start out with our thesis statement, which is Joseph Conrad enhances and adds depth to the novella by utilizing aquatic imagery to personify transformation of the human desire and freedom, which contribute to the dark, foreboding theme shadowing the plotline.
Our first quote we took from the first few pages of the novel. I'm going to read the first few sentences. The sea reach of the Thames stretched before us like the beginning of an interminable waterway. In the offing, the sea and the sky were welded together without a joint, and in the luminous space, the tan sails of the barges, drifting up with the tide, seemed to stand still in red clusters of canvas, sharply peaked, with gleams of varnished spirits, etc., etc. So at the beginning of the novella, Conrad sets the scene for his frame story, introducing Marlowe as, by now, an aged sailor, long after his adventures of the Congo have already ended. So Conrad introduces Marlowe alongside several of his sailor companions, and the characters find themselves deep in conversation about the universal bond that they share amongst themselves and with other sailors that is connected essentially by water, the sea. So the vivid image of the Thames River stretching interminably into the horizon, coupled with the mournful gloom settling over Gravesend, builds an atmosphere of not only mystery but also what we believe to be dread. Conrad uses visual imagery with a particular emphasis on the joining of heaven, earth, and the sea to foreshadow the series of arguably grand events that are about to be described. In this sense, because the earth and the sea and the heaven are all very broad terms, we thought they allude to a very broad foreshadowing or a very broad event about to occur. And although the opening of the description uses water as a means of foreboding, as is indicated by this quote, water also has many other meanings, including as a symbol for freedom and transformation.
So this next quote, which starts with, in and out of rivers, streams of death and life, whose banks were rotting into mud, whose waters, thickened with slime, invaded the contorted mangroves, seemed to writhe us in the extremity of an impotent despair. So basically, aquatic imagery is utilized throughout this quote to symbolize the stream of death that Marlowe encounters as he embarks on his trek down the Congo River. So Conrad uses the imagery of the movement of water to personify the impotent despair that Marlowe encounters as he ventures deeper into the forest. This quote contributes to the dark, oppressive theme that is explored throughout the novel.
And for our third quote, we chose, the old river and its broad reach rested unruffled at the decline of day after ages of good service done to the race that peopled its banks, spread out in the tranquil dignity of a waterway leading to the uttermost ends of the earth, etc. So the old river, as indicated in the first sentence, is none other than the Thames. Conrad relays to the reader and the relationship between water and eternity through the perspective of Marlowe, the novella's protagonist. So as stated explicitly by Marlowe a few paragraphs prior, the Thames River is not only the site of numerous present-day expeditions, including those that are going off on their various imperialistic ventures, but also the site of Roman colonization and various other journeys that occurred nearly a millennia earlier. So in this sense, water imagery symbolizes the past and the future, and it kind of acts as an entity that is present regardless of time or the state of the human race. So Conrad highlights this symbolic message by labeling the river as a tranquil waterway leading to the uttermost ends of the earth, a description tantamount to the interminable waterway used in the aforementioned quotes.
So this next quote is an iconic quote utilized throughout, well, not throughout, but utilized to symbolize the heart of darkness. So it's, the reaches open before us and closed behind, as if the forest had stepped leisurely across the water to bar the way for our return. We penetrated deeper and deeper into the heart of darkness. So in this quote, Conrad uses the imagery of water as a barrier to reaching the heart of darkness. He uses the water as a point of no return, as he says that it bars the way back. The water is the final crossing point into Marlowe's future. It foreshadows the rest of the novella by indicating the water's foreboding presence. This iconic quote represents the entirety of the plot and expresses Marlowe's unwary feelings as he penetrates deeper and deeper into the heart of darkness.
So this is our fifth quote that we found when Marlowe kind of gets a sight of the Congo River. He sees a French vessel that's shooting kind of blindly into the continent. So it states, her ensign dropped limp like a rag. The muzzles of the long 8-inch guns stuck out all over the low hull. The greasy, slimy swell swung her up lazily and let her down, swaying her thin masts In the empty immensity of earth, sky, and water, there she was, incomprehensible, firing into a continent. So although water plays a very minor role in this passage, because it's obscured by other very broad terms including sky and earth, it creates the same mood of foreboding and gloom that's kind of emphasized in other quotes. So the pronoun her, in the first sentence, as I mentioned before, references a French vessel that is mindlessly attacking the shorelines without any definite target. So Marlowe remarks that the sight is kind of a sign of madness, absurdity, and extraneous violence. The passage above uses the term empty immensity, which we believe is an oxymoron that highlights water's gloomy connotation. By empty, Conrad kind of alludes to the emptiness of imperialism in the sense that it is an inherently unrighteous industry. And by immensity, Conrad creates the sense of eternity, once again highlighting the ability of water to transcend even time.
So this next quote is one of Conrad's more deeper psychological quotes, and it starts with, "The broadening waters flowed across a mob of wooden islands. You lost your way on the rivers as you would in the desert, and butted all day long against shoals trying to find the channel, till you thought yourself bewitched and cut off forever from everything you had known once somewhere far away in another existence, perhaps." The water symbolizes human nature's tendency to stray off the path that is originally set. Water is an element that knows no boundaries, and Conrad uses it to indicate the different options one has. He compares the water to a reader trying to find a channel. The quote has a dark, foreboding tone to it, as it uses diction like bewitched to show that choosing the wrong path could cut one off from everything.
And for our conclusion, we answered a question presented in the assignments. Why or how is the image you have tracked essential to the overall effect of the novel? And in other words, why must this image, the image of water, be present for the novel to be successful? So we believe water is a reoccurring theme throughout the novel, appearing in both minute and salient amounts throughout Marlowe's journey. Yet no matter where this kind of all-pervasive entity of water appears, its overarching theme remains the same. So these are the themes of transformation, freedom, eternalism, and sometimes foreboding. So the novel focuses on the innate evil within every man, which we see as a darker creature that usually comes out only when it's not inhibited by the norms of society. And Conrad frequently builds this message by relating the darkness of the jungle with the darkness of man. Water imagery, in this sense, serves as a stark contrast. In one aspect, it acts as a river, leading colonists and natives alike on a journey of freedom away from the mystery and restriction of the wilderness. And in another aspect, it acts as the grand ocean, a larger body of water, frequently deemed as an interminable waterway that survives the test of time, much like the evil within humankind. So that concludes our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it, and please pardon our issue with the software jing. We hope the use of two laptops kind of made it more interesting. Okay, thank you for watching.